Society routinely praises endurance. We tell people carrying heavy burdens to stay strong, turning resilience into a demand placed on the shoulders of the exhausted. Clinicians absorbing their patients' trauma, first-generation immigrants navigating profound systemic grief, students paralyzed by their uncertain futures, these groups are consistently handed a single, empty instruction. They are told to have hope. The structural flaw in passive optimism is its reliance on fleeting emotions. You can feel motivated inside a warm, supportive environment, but that feeling reliably evaporates the moment you step outside and face actual resistance. Demanding this level of endurance without providing a structural framework forces the individual to bridge the gap with pure effort, depleting their remaining reserves. The shift begins by questioning the nature of the feeling itself. What changes if we stop treating hope as an internal state and start treating it as a mechanical equation? In Oklahoma City, a symposium called Mind and Minds was built to test this exact hypothesis. They discarded the standard motivational lecture format in favor of a grueling, collaborative working day. This diagram outlines the core equation driving their work. Hope equals resilience, plus faith, plus action, plus within. By treating these variables as a sequential discipline, we establish 5 distinct pillars that support true, functional hope. The first pillar is radical hope. It requires the active, daily discipline of operating as though the future is entirely open, even when all current evidence suggests otherwise. The second pillar, resilience, strips away toxic positivity. It requires honestly naming the harsh realities of a situation and identifying the actual mechanisms that carry people through a crisis. These two concepts must lock together to form a solid internal baseline. You have to stabilize your psychological foundation before you can begin to engage with any external systems or communities. Without the brutal honesty provided by the second pillar, the radical action of the first devolves into pure delusion. Once the baseline is set, the third pillar, human agency, focuses on the recovery of choice. This means locating the exact point where power was stripped away and mapping the specific local obstacles blocking its return. The fourth pillar, belonging, is best understood by its inverse, isolation. Isolation multiplies every other problem, compounding stress the moment a node disconnects. Belonging intervenes by deliberately mixing isolated demographics, clinicians, faith leaders, immigrants, into one room, distributing the weight. You cannot reclaim agency in a vacuum. Dismantling systemic obstacles requires a cross-disciplinary, interconnected network, sharing resources in real time. The entire framework ultimately relies on the fifth pillar, actionable change, acting as a strict quality control mechanism. The symposium enforces a simple mandate. Any insight that does not survive the drive home does not count. Operationally, this means every single person in the room must formulate one concrete next step, name it themselves, and physically write it down before they are allowed to leave. Inspiration that fails to produce a physical written output is a failure of the entire system. Keynote speaker Bertrand Fonsa survived the journey from Cameroon to Oklahoma by relying on what he calls the change within. He argues that internal alignment across these pillars is a strict prerequisite for any external policy action. When executed correctly, this trauma-informed framework takes abstract, paralyzing grief and converts it directly into a functioning operational plan, which means watching an educational video falls under the exact same role as attending the symposium. Your mandate is to pull out a piece of paper and write down one concrete step you will take today to reclaim your agency. This specific framework transforms hope from an abstract feeling into a sequence of deliberate, actionable steps.